Welcome back to the European Challenger Series Spring Playoffs. It's time for Game 2 in this first semi-final showdown between DNL Esports and Cloud9 Eclipse. And with one more win, Cloud9 Eclipse will not only advance to Friday's finals, but they'll lock in a spot in the Summer Promotion Tournament.
Cloud9 looked incredible. They played like the team that won the first Challenge of Spring and not like the team that got beat by DNL in the second Spring in those quarterfinals, actually losing to DNL. You know, I think from the get-go, you have to talk about Ko. In the jungle for Cloud9, he went super aggressive on Lee Sin. He did get that 3-buff start. He kicked Kickus out of his own jungle, literally, and got Cloud9 that massive lead. Every single time Ko invaded, he shut Kickus down. Kickus didn't even finish Feral Flare. He was one shy. 24 to 25 stacks. And then once Cloud9 got the lead, they rotated well. They used their poke. I actually think they used their engage effectively and then poked to finish people off. And that's how they secured the win. I was worried about the Nidalee with the hyper engage combo, but they silenced my doubts and they performed flawlessly.
I mean, they executed it exactly how you would expect from that combo, you know? They poked as much as they could with Nidalee, and then they dove in, at which point Nidalee can hit easy spears anyway as you continue through that fight. The question I have now, though, going into Champion Select for game number 2 is, what do you ban away now? What do you change in your strategy? DNL went for the junglers in game number 1, taking out Kha'Zix and Evelynn. Ko's like, what up, Lee Sin? Had his changes, people saying that that change to safeguard makes him not as strong as he was before. Well, we didn't really see any hint that Lee Sin was any weaker in that game.
I do not believe Ko missed a Sonic Wave. I'm going to go either every important Sonic Wave,
one. Yeah.
Yes, every important Sonic Wave connected. His Dragon Rages were impeccable. He used Dragon Rage and Sonic Wave to get over a wall because he had no flash, knocking people up to stay alive. I think if I were DNL, I would not focus on what Cloud9 play well because I feel like there's too many champions. You know, in this previous game, they banned out Kha'Zix, LeBlanc, and Eve. In this game, they got melted by basically everybody. You can't ban 8 champions. So with that in mind, whatever DNL want to play coming into this game, ban the champions that counter the champions you want to play. I think that's what they need to do. Go for the play style based bans as opposed to the individual player based bans.
Which is what Cloud9 did. We looked how effective Leona was. Their first ban out of the gate was Morgana. Take away that Black Shield.
And they also banned Ziggs. We touched on the fact that sitting on the side of DNL, Nick's preferred playstyle is those farmy champions. It was Gragas, it was Ziggs, it was Nidalee.
Yeah.
You get rid of that wave clear, and it was very clear Cloud9 had a very controlled, coordinated invade and map control strategy. And if you can get rid of those heavy farmers from your opponent, you know, it just makes your life easier. And I have no idea what he was doing with Lulu mid. I really did not like that pick. I don't think it had any impact in the game. And I don't think it should have been there.
I'd go out on a limb and say the only real impact that it had was saving maybe 1 or 2 people, 1 or 2 kills from going over with the use of Wild Growth. And, okay, they use it once nicely down in the bottom lane to dive Odoamne, but honestly, 1 kill, that's not the impact that you're looking for.
He got taken out anyway. They got the dive, and Nick was overextended. He ran the opposite way, ran into, you know, members of Cloud9. I think for DNL in that game, they did get outplayed. And, you know, the theory behind their comp wasn't too bad. If you could get Ryze to be a super strong front line, and you've got, you know, the shields coming out there from Lulu and from Kayle, Yi could have become a monster. He could have been uncontrollable. He didn't need to build tank because he had wild growth and he had intervention. But they got stomped so hard in the first 5 to 10 minutes of the game, they were never a threat. So this idea of this shield and protect your hypercarry Ryze or hypercarry Yi, they need to be hypercarries first. And that means that there was a flaw in their early game execution, which you can actually work on. You can actually think about and work around.
And I wonder how that's really going to affect DNL. We shouldn't forget that Super Ace coming into the team. That's a brand new addition into that one. And although Super Ace does have, I'd almost go out on a limb and say more experience than most, if not all. I mean, Kickus, you can obviously argue as well. He's had his big tournaments as well when he was formerly in Meet Your Makers way back in the day. But a change is still a change in any roster.
It is, and especially when you've got a very important integral role to the mid to late game. You know, supports are very great, and you can work on your individual synergy with your AD carry, so you can always have a strong laning phase. That's arguably easier to train for, because you guys can just duo queue, you know, hit solo queue and work together. But when you need to work with the other 4 members, especially in a champion like Kayle, find the right interventions, find the right moments and the right positioning, it's significantly harder.
Well, let's have a look. We're into bans and picks here. What is going to be coming out
Lee Sin.
first of all? I'd imagine Lee Sin, but then you take Kha'Zix and Evelynn as well. Do you first pick one of those away?
So the other thing is, I actually think Kikis is also a phenomenal Lee Sin player. We were saying earlier that I was watching Denial play in the EUS Challenger Series about a week or two ago, and Kikis was like 10-1-5 on Lee Sin. He also has the ability to have that impact. So it could be first pick worthy, and we'll see where the priority lies.
Well, let's see. It was Kha'Zix that was taken out here first of all by Denial. So not wanting Kha'Zix, who we all know, despite that change, which I don't think is even a massive change to, you know, his team fight ability when it comes into that mid game or once it's level 6.
So the thought process behind removing the damage reduction for turrets is to make him less of a threat in the laning phase.
Yeah.
So what that does is it just mitigates the panic and the worry of those like 7 to 20 minute tower dives from a Kha'Zix who can just face tank a turret all day long. So it's not a big change, but again, you've seen how aggressive Ko is, you've seen how he's in your face. You don't want to give him a champion that can stealth up and get in your face with the leap even sooner.
So they've taken the Lee Sin out here, which was what we thought after Ko's brilliant performance in game number 1. On the other side for Cloud9 Eclipse, they're not changing their ban strategy here. Taking away Morgana, they've taken away Mundo.
Ziggs is still up and available. You have to feel that if Cloud9 get their hands on the likes of LeBlanc or Zed, they may let Ziggs fly through the pick and ban phase. So Denial, they have actually taken away that LeBlanc, so one of the assassins is gone. And I think for Cloud9, the decision now just needs to be, what are they more afraid of, what are they more worried about?
Well, we did see LeBlanc taken away, and Nidalee banned for Cloud9, and first pick Lulu. It didn't have the impact that we expected the last game. You could argue that there are stronger first picks right now.
Okay, so the one thing that it does do, I want to give the benefit of the doubt to Denial. Seeing that it didn't work in the mid lane and knowing that you can put her in support. Hell, we've even seen a top lane in the LCS.
True.
You do have that versatility in the champion. So there may be that level of doubt sitting on the side of Cloud9 Eclipse, and we'll see how they respond.
Well, they respond by saying, Leona was good for Voidal, and I'm going to show you how you play a Master Yi. That's what Ko's going to go for this time. Kha'Zix and Lee Sin taken away from him. That left Evelynn open, which was of course banned in game number 1 by Denial, and it looks like Kikis will get his hands on that one. May look like they're going for the Rise pick here once again as well.
So we'll wait to see this one locked in. I do want to touch on the fact that Evelynn was locked in. I think this is a slightly smarter choice, knowing how Cloud9 played the previous game. When you are against an Evelynn, the psychological threat of pushing the lane, of playing very aggressively, is compounded by the lack of information on Evelynn's positioning. So assuming that Denial do not give up multiple kills early and get so far behind, you can actually see Kikis having the ability to punish that aggressive playstyle of Cloud9. But he needs to make sure he's on point. We may even see Kikis trying to counter jungle Ko. Evelynn is particularly strong in that early game, especially in the lower level. So we'll see how that matchup plays out.
So what will Cloud9 take here for picks 3 and 4? Lucian, the choice for Hjarnan in our last game as well, and did fantastically well with him. I mean, we can't really say anything bad about it. Yes, they were pressured heavy in the early game, but it was only a matter of time until we hit level 6 and saw their engage and their real threat that came with that, with how well Voidal was playing. Also taking Shyvana once again for Odamne.
So truthfully, the Cloud9 composition is identical in playstyle and execution from the previous game. Ko wants to be aggressive on Yi. He wants to probably even be counter jungling. If he gets himself up that Feral Flare, he wants to, or if he gets a Wriggles, he wants to make it to Feral Flare, which if you're counter jungling and have access to multiple large monsters, makes it all that more efficient. The only thing they've left standing now, in the previous game, they had a super poke mid lane with Nidalee. They banned Nidalee out. They know they're coming up against a Lulu again. And the question is, does he want to pick an assassin? Does he want to go Zed? Does he want to go Riven? I mean, he's got access if he wants to, and we know Febiven is in love with Riven.
Well, we see that Twitch will be locked in here again. Can't say it really did a lot in that last game. Woolite didn't have the chances. We said in his position in that fight in the top lane, he was in the middle of the pack somewhere that with any AD carry, really, you just don't want to be there. They complement it this time with a Thresh as his partner.
So I like the Thresh more than I like the Kayle. You've got the escape thanks to the Lantern. You've got more peel, power for your team with the Flay, the Death Sentence, and the Box. So I think that's much smarter. And when you consider all of those tools against a Leona, against a Shyvana, you can interrupt Dragon's Descent. You can interrupt Zenith Blade. On the assumption that Super Ace is landing his Flays, there is much more tools available to him. So I think this is smarter. Denial are still going to have a fairly similar type of comp to the previous game. They want Ryze on the front line, they want Spray and Pray from the back line, and they're hoping that Wild Growth and the flank from Evelynn will work out in their favor.
And final pick is Soraka. It's taken so long. We've seen so much Soraka in North America, and it's taken me to get on an aeroplane to fly to North America to see a Soraka. Well done, Cloud9 Eclipse.
I'm going to go out on a limb and say, as far as European teams are concerned, the last time Soraka was played was when you and I were casting it in the spring split of last year.
And what a fantastic moment that was as well. But we're going to be seeing it in the mid lane here, which, again, reference to North American LCS right now, it's been pretty scary.
It has been, because it's very difficult to deal with. Now, in this situation, the Soraka is actually going to benefit and amplify the power of this engaged composition. Thanks to having Summoner heal herself, in addition to having Wish, as well as the bonus stats that she can give you with her heal giving bonus armor, etc. There is so many free defensive statistics on the side of Cloud9. Shyvana gets bonus armor and MR. Soraka gives bonus armor and MR. Leona gets bonus armor and MR. Combine all of that high tank threat, assuming Ko picks the right time to engage. There are so many things to look at and worry about that Denial are going to really need to prioritize their targeting. That is aided by the fact that they do have good AoE with Lulu, with Evelynn, with Ryze, with his ultimate on, and Twitch with Spray and Pray. Yeah. So luckily, the emphasis is not going to be on find one guy, land every skill shot, don't mess it up or we'll die. It's going to be wait for them to clump up, wait for them to dive in you, and then respond accordingly. And I think Denial, once again, they cannot afford to fall behind early. If they do, they're just going to get dove on over and over and over.
And therefore, I think we really have to look at Kikis in this game. Had little to no impact, really, in that last game with his Master Yi. Got Evelynn this time, which we've seen. And Evelynn can be really hit or miss. You can be annoying constantly, or you can just not be anywhere around the map, and you're just kind of invisible, not just as the champion, but as a whole in the game. Either way, we're going to find out here as we move into game number 2 between Denial and Cloud9 Eclipse. If Cloud9 take this one, they are moving through to tomorrow's final, but as we've said before, more importantly, to LCS promotion.
Yeah, the loser, if Denial goes down, they only have one more shot. They will both be best of 5s tomorrow for the final and for that third, fourth place matchup. Now, in the previous game, we did see Denial grouping up, going towards the tri-bush of Cloud9, and they're doing exactly the same. Odoamne is quite extended. If a death sentence catches him, maybe. But Denial, I think, are too far away. I'm pretty sure Odoamne should be able to flash. We'll see.
Death sentence does connect, but he's got burnout, and he's like, what up? I'm Shyvana. I'm running away from this one. You're not going to be able to catch me. Good death sentence. No follow-through.
No, Denial were too far away. The problem is if Denial were to get in vision range, Odoamne would have backed anyway. So what they do know is they know he's on burnout level 1. So the very first wave of minions is going to be a little bit more difficult to CS. He doesn't have that flame breath available to him. So decent start. Nothing really gained, unfortunately.
Ko actually stood on top of a ward there, and Super is like, okay, guys. This time, follow through if I land the hook. Unfortunately for him, though, Ko did actually move away, and Denial are going to move away from that one as well. So, off to a bit more of a standard start. We see that Feb even just stood there waiting for Lulu to come to this mid lane. I'm wondering if we're going to be seeing any kind of lane swaps. To be honest, their position right now still leaves the option open. Shyvana is down there, although he has teleport, so he's probably going to help out with the red head top.
I don't think Denial want to have a lane swap because the Leona... No, let's start again. I don't believe Denial want a lane swap because Twitch into Leona is a good matchup, especially for the laning phase. Because Thresh has the ability to interrupt and deal with Leona's low-level engages, and as long as he doesn't get caught by a solar flare Zenith Blade, I actually think he's in a very good position. So
and the fact that they've got Evelynn in there as well. Being in that 2v1 automatically means that Evelynn's going to be visible, having to defend the turrets.
Correct. So at this point in time, Denial, they're starting themselves off fairly well. It is going to be a straight-up 1v1 matchup. Now, Febiven, his Star Call is on a fairly high cooldown at rank 1, but as he begins to scale up, he should be able to out-sustain Nick. He's going to be able to silence Nick, which will prevent those Blitzer Lances, but he needs levels before he can do that. Level 4, level 5, I think, is when he can start turning the aggression on once he's got his heal and his Star Call maxed a little higher.
And let's be honest, when we say fairly high cooldown for Star Call, it's pretty much the closest thing we've got to ultra rapid fire at this stage.
Touche, touche. It is low, but the point being, at level 1, level 2, NIQ is going to get more damage thanks to his auto attacks and the bonus help picks damage. which means he will be out-traded at that point in the game. Febiven's been caught already.
Oh, this could be bad news for him. Evelyn coming in around the backside. The heal does come down, and there's just not enough damage there on towards Febiven.
No, Kikis was not in range long enough. The flash from Febiven, thanks to summon a heal, as well as his Astral Blessing from the W, he managed to get away. You cannot discount the power of that summoner heal. At level 1, it's not the most amount of HP. You're sitting at about 90. He's at level 3, so it's about 110 HP that he managed to pick up. That's 2 auto attacks, or an auto attack and 2 hate spikes, for example. So just enough time to survive.
Odoamne up in his top lane, falling slightly behind Babooni here. We mentioned that had to go burn out at level 1 to escape after he was in fact hooked in. Ko had come up to the top lane as well, but there was actually a ward in that side brush there as well. Interestingly enough, looking at this early lane and how it's gone on and taking a little bit more damage than I think he'd factored into that little encounter. But we see that if we look back to last game, Denial had a strong push on the duo lane. This time around, definitely more around that halfway point.
Entirely due to the matchup. Kayle was very little threat in that particular setup, so it allowed that very aggressive play, allowed them to work around. Kayle, very linear champion. They've jumped on Woolite.
They've gone in towards him, but do they want to keep going through? He actually takes the Lantern away. They hook Voidal in there as well. That's going to mean a bit of free damage onto him. Not sure it's going to be enough to be picking up a first blood here, but Super A's playing his position perfectly.
Yeah, doing well. At the end of the day, I think Cloud9 will still be happier with the trade because the HP was lost on Voidal's support, and Hyanin has a higher HP pool right now than his opposite number, Woolite. So we'll need to see if they can find more picks. Part of the reason that Denial are playing quite aggressively is, like we said, Super Ace has got the shield, he's got the flame. Every time Super Ace moves forward to collect those souls, Hyanin needs to consider, is there a death sentence? Is it coming? Do I need to be on alert? Please keep in mind, Hyanin does have Summoner Heal. So you have barrier bait scenarios, you can now have Summoner Heal scenarios where both of the champions will get healed up by that spell.
Yeah, interesting when you touch on that. No Summoner Heal this time around for Denial. They did run it with Kayle, their support, in that last game. So bit of a change for them this time around. Super A's going Flash Ignite, which honestly, I think a perfect combo at this stage of things. Odoamne needs to be real careful here, and by real careful, I mean press burnout.
So 2 things that have happened. Kikis has ganked middle and he's now ganked top. Neither has resulted in a kill, but he is applying presence. This is the first time we're seeing a 2-on-2, and Ko is actually coming out behind on that trade, I feel. Kikis running him down with the hate spike. The one thing I want to note is that Kikis, he had a good gank timing in the mid lane. Febiven was overextended and he got the flash. I think it was trying to find something on Odoamne. It's quite difficult to burst down that Eve. He doesn't even have all that, burst down Shyvana, because Eve doesn't have all that additional damage right now. So he's going to need to wait till he gets level 6, Agony's Embrace, and then look for kills.
This top lane being pushed back a little bit more. Babooni are finally starting to run low on mana. Obviously, he's going to be going back, getting that tier in place in just a little while. This mid lane, as you mentioned, Febiven has already used his flash, but unless we see Evelyn, which we are now seeing Kikis coming around, but half HP, you have to be careful. That Soraka does deceptive amounts of damage.
Yeah, the longer you stay in range, the more damage that Starcall is going to deal. He's been turned into a little munchkin. He may be in trouble.
Yeah, there's a heal coming in though, and they're going to go towards Nick from this one. Have they got the damage? The bananas flying around. Wild growth has to be used there. Kikis falling low as well. A lot of minion damage coming in, but forcing out the ultimate.
So Soraka is one of the best champions in those 2v2 scenarios, thanks to the heals, thanks to the bonus defensive statistics that we've already touched on. And the moment that Yi comes in there, let's say a fight were to break out, Yi goes low, he can begin meditating, which gives him that damage reduction from the damage of Denial. And as long as he's not interrupted by the polymorph of Lulu, he can actually tank it all up, get healed by Soraka in time, and you just keep them in place long enough for those Starcalls to keep doing more and more damage.
And they're going to be stealing away a red buff here. Ko gets that one. Nick did come around, but a little bit too late to stop that one from happening. Kikis is now there with him as well, but this will be a swift escape from Cloud9 Eclipse. Even Thresh moving up there from that bottom lane as Super A's wanted to get involved, but Cloud9 are able to steal the buff and able to move away there. Close to 1,000 gold lead here just from this lane phase with no towers, no kills.
Yeah, and it's purely down to the mechanical abilities. There's small CS advantage on every single champion sitting on Cloud9's side. Ko controlled the jungle last time. He's about to run into Kikis. Kikis is in so much trouble.
And that is a big face check coming in. There is the Alpha Strike going down. Kikis gonna flash away. Ko gonna get polymorph. They turn around on towards Nick. The Ignite was thrown down. And whilst they've not got a kill here, will they stick around? Now we're gonna see Babunia face checking in as well. Ko goes for the meditate. There's the wish coming out as well, but Ko needs to escape. Alpha Strike gets the kill. Picks up first blood, but dies in the end.
So very nice turnaround. I think Ko and Febiven made the best call possible. They were not going to be able to run away from that one, and I feel they were trying to just secure themselves an advantage. Trading 1 for 1, and we touched on how powerful that meditate is. He manages to get some damage reduction, survives long enough to pull Kikis in. Kikis should not have been there. He was on low HP, you know Alpha Strike's available, you know Alpha Strike can chase you down. So I think poor positioning on his part. At the end of the day, kill secured on the side of Nick. On the other side, Ko now has a Wriggles Lantern, and it will need 25 stacks before it becomes a Feral Flare.
There we go. New items always take a little bit of getting used to, I think, not just for us, but for everyone as a whole. Kikis here, trying to get that blue buff after what was a bit of a horrible time for them there. They're going to throw quite a lot of resources at this one, although Odo Amne is coming in. He doesn't want to smite it there, Kikis. Actually, he's already used his smite, so that would make sense, but he wanted it to go over to Nick, was my real point in that one.
And Odo Amne just playing super, super brave. He's in his face. Super Aces does get caught out. Oh, he's hooked Voidal.
Oh, he is going to go on towards Voidal, but they do throw everything at them. There's the culling coming in. Woolite going to get a lot of damage onto him, but does with the spray and pray get the kill here. Actually, they're going to turn around here. Yanan, he went invisible just as he was about to land that last auto attack. That would have been a kill. It
would have been, and I think Hyanan actually showing a little bit of lack of experience on heal. He didn't save Voidal. Now Voidal gets away. Woolite gets away.
It's a VW, same kind of thing as actually Alpha Strike in there was knocked away again by the Flay. Woolite getting behind the tower in enough range. As Febiven going to come in, he's actually going to spot Kikis here. Silence coming down. Lulu's now moving in as well. But here comes Yan, and this could be deadly for Denial in the end, though. They just back away from it. Very close encounters.
Yeah, very, very close. At the end of the day, Denial actually get the kill and get away. Now, let's go back and not get names confused. Hyanan did not save Voidal. He had summon a heal available. Oh, Ko's been caught!
So has been caught, but will be able to get away thanks to the silence there in part out of Febiven. Kiki's trying to run away. Febiven gonna flash into this one. He's got the vision, and there's the star call. The first kill for Soraka, and it probably won't be the last. Nick's gonna go down, or is he? He's sped himself up, gets away with very little health.
55 HP. Nick manages to get away. Hyanan holds onto his heal again. I want to keep my eye on this because AD carries picking up heal is quite non-traditional. AD carries have tended to pick spells that protect themselves, like Barrier, like Cleanse, for example. In both of those previous engages, both in the bottom lane and around the Dragon Pit, Hyanan held onto his heal. He held onto his summoner spell. I think it's a bit brash. I think it's worth actually throwing out, especially if you can, save that teammate. At the end of the day, Cloud9 lose a member thanks to the 2v2, but then they find a kill onto Kikis once again, who was singled out and was soloed out by the members of Cloud9. Kill went to Febiven. He's getting closer to his Athene's and Holy Grail.
Yeah, I think you're right with that as well. I mean, if you look, 2 summoner heals plus Wish, that's a lot of group heal when you get into a fight like that. Something that Denial have to be very, very careful about, because all of a sudden when you think you've got them low, you actually haven't. As Odo Amne, he is very, very deep. Going to knock Babunia back on his way off towards base, but is he going to get there? The damage coming out here from Babunia. Odo Amne does have his flash available, and there it is used. Will burn out and get behind the tower.
Hashtag almost calculated. He almost got away without burning the flash. I think Odo Amne, understanding the amount of damage that Babunia had, waited until the very last moment, was not willing to risk one more overload and then using the flash. But fact of the matter is, he should not have been that extended to begin with. He put himself in a position where he needed to burn both his ultimate and his flash to get away. Maybe he just wanted it to back. Picks himself up that Banshee's Veil and immediately uses the teleport to return to lane. So it's going to have that reduced cooldown. Should be available soon enough. Woolite, I think, wants to go in. He's positioning himself to line up both the minion wave and potentially the champions with his spray and pray available. So if Hyanan and Voidal stick close enough, he can get a lot of bonus damage by hitting multiple targets at once.
And Ko now looking at Dragon, he's like, do I want to do it? Is there a ward here? Maybe more importantly, there is a ward there at the back. We've just seen a scan coming down on the Tribush. They pull in the Dragon out, but it looks more like they want to possibly fight for this one. Voidal and Hyanan going back to lane. Kikis is there as well, and that Dragon has been started off here by Ko and Febiven.
So something that we didn't touch on in the previous game is Dragon has also been changed this game. We've got a little bit of time now, and the biggest change is the fact that Dragon now deals percentage HP damage, 5% of your current health, which scales after level 9. He also gets tankier. After level 9, with each average level growing higher and higher, he will gain additional armor and magic resist. And his debuff now applies to damage, not attack speed. So we do see Nick right now, Alpha Strikes. That's quite smart play. Alpha Strike to get more distance, and he's just going to keep running away thanks to that Highlander.
Yeah, easy peasy for him there. His top lane, as he said, maybe a little bit deep from odoamne, but if he was deep before, he certainly won't be afraid of it now. With that Banshee's Veil on, Babunia not got enough damage to think about killing him, I think, at this stage. Also running low on mana there. Obviously, been stacking that tier up for quite a little while now. They're pretty much bang even on CS in that top lane. This mid lane is exactly the same as well. Both Lulu and Soraka sat around 105 CS.
Yeah, so it's just a farm lane at the moment because of the shields and the speed buffs and the silences. It's quite difficult to get away. We do see that Ko is now going to tire this top lane. Babunia, no mana!
This is bad news for Babunia. There is the Alpha Strike coming in. He's going to flash to the back, but you have to wonder if that's a wasted flash in the end.
Yeah, with the wish and knowing that both of the champions he was dealing with had some ability to chase him down, maybe would have been better to just give that one up. At the end of the day, Cloud9 get themselves a kill, the assist, and the tower. And now Kickers, what are you doing? You're on the wrong side of the world.
Getting silenced there, but not really going to be too much danger for him. Nick just trying to force away that push. Came there a little bit late. They stopped, didn't stop the tower from going down. As the hook comes flying out towards Hjarnan there in the bottom lane. He's just above half HP. That could have been a little bit deadly for him. Meanwhile, we see Ko, walks in there, smites it down with the ward vision, and obviously Kikis just left that one, used his smite earlier on, wanted to give it over to Nick as well. Unfortunate when that happens.
So I think that's now 3 buffs out of the game thus far that Cloud9 have been able to steal away. With the kill in the top lane, we get to that. Hjarnan's been hooked.
Hook coming in. There's a teleport down the back. That is the Solar Flare going towards the back. Hjarnan has actually already flashed here, and he's gonna go down. Actually, he didn't flash. He didn't flash at all. Voidal is gonna fall low as well. Rune Prism will seal that deal. And Denial here, picking up 2 kills for nothing down on the bottom side of the map.
Very, very crucial kills secured. The unfortunate thing is, of their 4 kills, 2 are on the support. Now, Febiven is being dived. He's trying to turn it back around.
Yeah, but he's Soraka. Don't dive as Soraka.
It's just a bananas idea.
It's exactly that. This bottom turret actually taking a lot of damage, but let's have a look at that fight once again. It was started by Cloud9.
Yeah, Voidal actually, I think, going a little too aggressive. Now, this is the point I want to highlight. There are games where Voidal has had flawless engages, and there are games where he's had questionable engages. This may be an offshoot of the confidence from the previous game, where Voidal jumped onto Woolite and Super Raze thanks to the fact that there was a Kayle support. There was much less risk diving onto Kayle because all she can do is try and hurt you some more and then save herself. Whereas a Thresh on the other side, knowing that he's got the flame, knowing he's got the box, there's kill threats. And, you know, Ko, this is how you play Master Yi.
Yeah, kind of.
A mistake.
You spoke a little bit too early there. Coming back straight underneath the tower and taking a bit more. It's alright, he's got the heals to keep him alive. Meanwhile, odoamne again, feeling a bit of heat from Babunia in this top lane. And Babunia playing this one a lot stronger. However, Cloud9, they died. Obviously respawn, come back into lane, pick up basically a free turret.
Truthfully, if you actually look at the bigger picture, they got damage in the mid lane turret. odoamne is able to save the top lane turret, and Cloud9 didn't even lose their bottom turret, but he managed to secure a tower for his own team. So Denial only got a kill, and they've lost that objective. I'd like to highlight that at this point in the game, at 16 minutes, Ko has completed his Feral Flare. So it is now going to start stacking the damage. For the numbers, it's going to be an additional 100 damage at base onto monsters, minus 67% versus champions, and he's going to be getting 10 HP per hit. So his sustain is going to go up, and it's going to start stacking with every kill, with every assist, with every big monster. And look at the side. I think they're going to go and kick us.
Voidal is going deep on this one. They go straight in towards Kikis. Takes a lantern, but Master Yi's in there. Ku picks up that kill. He's going to get hooked in, but there's the wish coming out. They take a turret, dive in there, get the kill, and they don't really lose that much health in the end.
Somebody needs to give Ko a high five. We'll talk in a second as Woolite is about to run to the team. He's about to become unstealth.
Oh, that pink ward put in position, and Woolite is going to go down. There's a deep sending plate. Hjarnan now the focus. Babunia gets that one. Super A's going into the back. Febiven actually moving out here towards NIQ. Is going to flash away, puts down a heal onto himself, and a little bit deep there, you might argue, losing 2 men.
Yeah, tiny bit overextended. There was a couple of auto attacks that got off there from Woolite, and of course Cloud9 didn't necessarily have the best of engages. I want to just quickly touch on the fact that Ku actually had a very good engage in the mid lane. When we talked about that Master Yi, he needs to time his engages effectively. Now let's have a look at the positioning from Denial. Pink Ward goes down, reveals Woolite, rather, and because Cloud9 had to go through the box, you see the movement slow. Super Ace did a fantastic job. Fantastic job with positioning on that box and landing a very crucial play. That is single-handedly what allowed Denial to get those kills.
6-5 in kills. But look at the global goals here. There is a big lead already here for Cloud9 Eclipse. They have a strong lead on this game as Kikis is going to come in here. Ko just getting 2 shots off onto that ward and throws himself another one down. We've got less than 10 seconds. Actually, that's a lie. Now we've got less than 10 seconds until Dragon comes up and Ko already in position.
So Cloud9 should be able to get in position to fight for this particular buff. They do not have teleport from Odoamne, so it's going to be a 4v5 at a best case scenario. And I think Denial have probably got superior positioning to force this objective. Knowing it's going to take a while for Odoamne Shyvana to get down there, it's going to gift this one to Denial, I feel. Cloud9 are going to have to be super confident to engage 4v5, and they're not going. It's not worth the risk.
No point in losing anyone there. Going to be taken down in the end by Babunio. Interestingly, though, that he got that and it wasn't the smite that finished it off. And Ko might have been thinking that, you know what, if I'd have cheeky alpha strike in there and gone for the smite, who knows what would have happened. Either way, it goes over to Denial. It brings them closer in goal.
So Kikis has been, he's not had a great series thus far. You know, in the previous game, his Master Yi was not very scary, and you have to feel that he's been caught out of position on his Evelyn, which is worrying because as an Evelyn, you really need to be engaging at the exact right time, at the exact right moment. If you look at his itemization as well, he's got very little damage. In conjunction to the Feral Flare, Ghost Blade, Master Yi, now they're trying to 2-man Baron. This is brave. Look at how much damage Ko's taking.
Yeah, a little bit too much, actually, but he's going to be getting the heals coming out from Febian. They've got the Wish if they do need it. They've got vision also of Denial there, so they know exactly where Denial are. Both have the Summoner heal available. They're keeping them in position. That Wish is going to show them now, though, that they're going for this Baron, surely enough. They start to move in, but it's going to be picked up. That was nicely done. Sneaky Baron coming out from Cloud9 Eclipse, but now they might fight. Solar Play going towards the back. The hook has landed. The box is down as well, but the damage coming on to Kikis is absolutely massive. He gets forced out of the fight. Odoamne ticking away there from the poison, and they kill out Voidal, so that's a 2-for-0, despite losing the Baron here to Denial.
Super importantly, Denial managed to save their members for the initial burst. Because Master Yi and Soraka did not blow somebody up instantly and stick in the middle of the fight, it meant that Denial came out ahead. They've taken off the Baron buff from 2 members of Cloud9, are going to secure their 2nd tower of the game, and that is a very important play for Denial. It immediately makes you concerned about Cloud9's chances. Ko is thinking he can go in. Denial is separated.
Yeah, this is dangerous. He's going to go on towards NRQ, but they start to knock him back. He's running his ultimate, but is he going to get away? Well, it's going to flash away right at the very last second as well, and that will be a 1-for-0.
I think Cloud9 may be feeling a little overconfident here. In order for Cloud9's composition to work, they need to have a numbers advantage, and they need to be running together in the middle of the team. If Master Yi is there alone, he's going to get killed. There is a lot of damage from Denial. If Shyvana is there alone, she can get focused down. In the previous fight, Odoamne was able to zone 3 members of Denial, which was great. Well done, that's your job. But the problem is, nobody else followed up. Master Yi was retreating. Soraka was retreating. There wasn't the heal stacking that we were anticipating because they needed to use it for Baron. They'd used those big abilities in Baron, and that's what cost them those fights. Cloud9 need to pick better engages with more abilities if they want to actually win them.
See Feb even getting himself a blue buff. Not died. Up to, yeah, actually the only member on the Cloud9 Eclipse team to not die, and see how that all works out for him, how this Soraka pick moves in, moving forward. And one of the big things undeniably about that last fight was when the Wish goes down to heal them from Baron, and that's not available in that big fight, that is a big heal for the entire team.
The second thing that is in addition to that factor is that Ko was forced out of the fight early as well. You know, he took a lot of burst damage up front. He's got no defensive items himself, and he's relying on those heals of his teammates to keep him up. If you look at his build, up until this exact minute, he had his Feral Flare and his Ghost Blade completed. And only now has Kikis managed to pick up that Chain Vest and the Giant's Belt. So finally, Kikis is starting to get to be a little bit closer to a frontline threat. not necessarily a damage threat right now, but as long as he can engage, get a good ultimate down, and pull members of Cloud9 towards him, the rest of Denial actually have the damage to win out the fights, as we've seen in his last few engagements.
Yeah, Babooni is starting to build himself up a little bit there as well, and we shouldn't look past Lulu. Nick is 2-0 for you. Rabadon's Death Cap now added in on top of his Athene's Unholy Grail. You look at Twitch, Bloodthirster, Phantom Dancer in there as well.
So you have to feel that Nick on Lulu this game has now had a positive impact because his side lanes and his jungle had not fallen behind so incredibly far early on. At 23 minutes in the previous game, Denial had absolute undeniable control of the game. And while they are marginally ahead, well, a few thousand gold ahead right now, you still feel like Denial can win these fights, and you still feel like they have a fighting chance. We just need to see how Nick positions himself and how effectively his Wild Growths and his Guild Lancers are going to be in these team fights.
They're actually moving through the jungle here. Super A is going to spot that ward going down, and we'll just simply auto-attack that one out with the use of his Trinket. They're going to steal away the golems here, and Massey waiting off to the side. Hook actually coming through, and Ko wants that big monster, but doesn't get it in the end. Ko has to back away with the presence of Kikis and not knowing exactly where everyone else is. There's a ward there that's going to spot Odoamne going back. He's got himself a Banshees, though. You can't even hook him.
Yeah, I almost felt like that could have been bait as well, because as Odoamne was backing in the Tribush, Voidal was motoring down towards him through the jungle himself, and you did see the Ko was close by as well. So at the end of the day, nothing happens. Denial do not look for any sort of engage, and Cloud9 do not manage to pull Denial towards them. In order for Cloud9 to gain a further advantage in this game, they need to have deeper wards, because now they're pushed down to the inner turrets. So in order for them to safely engage on those inner turrets, they need to make sure that neither Ryze nor Twitch nor Evelynn can flank them. I mean, you've got to remember that's two champions with stealth. And without full vision and information with pink wards or buff camps, for example, Cloud9 are at risk of being flanked and caught out. So in order to avoid that, they just need much superior vision.
Now, Dragon coming up here in just a second. Last one, of course, did go over towards Denial. Cloud9 looking like they want to play for this one, though. Is Woolite going to catch out Voidal? They throw everything at him here, but I think Voidal's going down. That is a free kill coming up for Denial. And talking of free kills, there's a second one. They have to back away here. This is a 5v3 as they hook in Febiven. He's going to surely fall from it, flashing away to the blue buff, but I have to think that that's in vain. A triple kill for Woolite.
7-1-4. Denial find an opportunity and they pounce without hesitation. Because they found Cloud9 split up and they had vision of the river. Look at the number of wards that Denial has from the river moving north to that blue buff jungle. That was very decisive play, and that's basically what Cloud9 did to Denial in the previous game. Thanks to the kills and the tower, they have now completely evened up the gold, and they're going to get themselves a dragon on the way out as well. That is a massive turn of events for Denial.
Yeah, Ko up in the top side, not really anywhere near that one, and bit of a sorry turn of events for Cloud9, but you have to say, from our side of things, Denial coming back in this game, it's a best of 3. We could be possibly seeing a third game, but I don't want to even move to, theorizing about that one yet, because there's still a lot to happen in this one. Baron coming up in less than a minute. Last time stolen away, or snuck away, I think we can safely say, by Cloud9 Eclipse. However, this time, I don't think Denial are going to give it up that easy. So
when you look at the compositions, and we're now getting closer to this later game, I think we're at the early, late game, if that makes sense. Ryze has now hit his power spike. He's got his Seraph's Embrace, he's got his Rod of Ages stacked, picked himself up a Glacial Shroud as well now, so he's even going to get tankier. Evelynn's going to get tankier as well, going to become more impactful. Lulu, the same situation. And in my opinion, against this composition of all-in champions like Cloud9, I think Twitch is a phenomenal choice. Once Yi, Shyvana, Soraka, and Leona all lining up to try and hunt you down, your spray and pray is going to hit them all, and it's just going to amplify your damage immensely. Cloud9 do have scaling champions of their own, but I feel like in order for Cloud9 to regain control of this game, they need to split push. They need to have Shyvana in the top lane, they need to have Yi in the bottom lane, and stay grouped as a 3-man with Leona, Soraka, and Lucian sticking together. I feel that Cloud9's got better mapped split pushing champions, and they should play to their strengths.
Buffs taken here for Cloud9 Eclipse. Baron has come up, and look at this denial. Are going straight in for that one. We see Voidal trying to get rid of the vision from the back. Baron is down to half HP.
Solar Flare.
Continue to hammer away. There is the Solar Flare coming in. Here's a call in from the side as well. Baron not going low enough for the smite just yet. Kikis is going to have to back away. There is a spray and pray. Woolite has got wild growth on him. They tried to flash away, but Woolite is ripping through them there at the back. That is going to be 1-for-1 right now. Cloud9 have stopped them doing Baron and got a kill on the way out.
More importantly, they forced Denial to split up. The moment Denial were in group, their damage was great. They've jumped on Super Ace.
The Baron didn't reset here either. Woolite has actually jumped in the middle. They need to finish off the Baron, otherwise they're going to lose it anyway. Voidal goes down. Yanan, he's doing the Baron. They finally killed off most of the team. NIQ is still there. Febiven is going to finish off the Baron, and that in the end will be 2 men down. Nick going to be chased here by Odoamne, and we see that Yanan moving in from the side. Woolite has got basically no HP, but there is Thresh to save the day.
So at the end of the day, it's a 2-for-2 trade, and Cloud9 get the Baron. Denial were forced all the way back. As a 5-man team, they didn't commit to finishing Baron, and they were a little bit split up. But what you need to notice, this is the re-engage now. Denial had already been forced away, and because Nick is forced away on the top lane, he's scared of being engaged upon, and Woolite going super deep. He's knocked up, he's stunned. I think he focused a lot on Voidal, which allowed Odoamne and Febiven to actually get a kill of their own and then finish Baron. Denial wanted to ideally be a little more grouped, get that help picks onto Woolite, could have allowed him to stick around for a couple extra auto attacks. I think good play from both teams, but with Baron being on Cloud9's side, advantage to Cloud9.
Baron Nashor has been a big player in this game, there's no doubt about that one. Cloud9 Eclipse taking the first one secretly, but losing 2 men afterwards, which started this whole comeback for Denial. That time around, it's Denial that started off. Cloud9 forced them away, are able to pick up the Baron and a couple of kills afterwards. Let's have a look at the gold. It's 1,000 gold between these two teams. 14-7 in kills, 3-3 in turrets. And after looking at these last fights, you have to say this is still anybody's game.
I completely agree with you. And Cloud9 have been unable to touch those inner turrets of Denials. You contrast the performance this game to the previous game, and Cloud9 had absolute map presence. They were all over Denial's jungle. They took every single buff they wanted to, and they simply shut down Denial's abilities to rotate around the map. Woolite is such a threat at 815 with the Infinity Edge and Phantom Dancer that Febiven's picked up a Thornmail. As a third item on Soraka, he's picked up a Thornmail because of the amount of threat that Woolite offers. What that means, though, is that he's relying on his Mercrays and his Athenes as the only magic damage protection right now from that Evelynn and the Ryze combination. So if Febiven is caught a little bit out of position and even Riser on his face, it's going to be a little easier for them to take him down. So we'll see how positioning works out, because all of these fights have been determined by positioning.
Oh, that is bad news. Although the heal's coming in, Woolite has to use his cleanse there, and the wild growth came in and bit off a little bit more banana peel than he wished, I think, there.
Yeah, in that situation, Febiven's Thornmail, plus the heal armor that he gets, plus the support of his teammates worked in his favor. We touched on how Cloud9 can split push, and look at this tower. It is being shredded by Ko.
Shredded and then deaded. Nicely done. Meanwhile, that mid turret going low as well. Yana going to get caught in it. Kikis doing the work there. Can they get any more? Babooni are going to flash in to try and pick up that kill. They need to have Master Yi in this one. Odoamne tanking up all the damage. Here comes Ko. The box is down now, and I don't think they want to trip through it. They're going to try and run away. Baboonia is chasing Febiven. There is the silence. He gets off a heal as well. Has he got the damage here to kill off Baboonia? There's a ward in that brush. Odoamne coming around the side. Too late to save them. And now Odoamne may go down. They hook in Ko as well, but he turns around. Kiki's now moving in. Alpha Strike not enough, and they get themselves more kills. Meanwhile, Odoamne definitely not safe here. But Booney are chasing him down. They've got no flashes between them. There is one more Q, and Odoamne is going to get away from it.
You're not going to chase the burnout, but Bunya's not giving up that he wants to push the lane. Voidal should go down.
Yeah,
he does.
He's dead.
At the end of the day, we talked about how Febiven, if he gets caught out of position, Babunya and Kikas can shut him down. Babunya 1v1s Febiven. After Cloud9 takes such a nice play in the top lane by securing an uncontested tower, they get caught out in the middle lane. They didn't have Master Yi with them. They got zoned out and they lost Hyanan super early on. That actually could have been more disastrous for Cloud9 had Woolite not been taken out. Odoamne got onto the rat, got him down, which meant these death timers could be punished as hard. So this is the engage. We actually see Kickers flanking from the side, and thanks to a great teleport from Babunya coming in from behind, all of a sudden Cloud9 are split. every time Cloud9 got split up, they just get focused down. And even though Code joined late, that he doesn't want to tower dive. He's not tanky enough. He's not scary enough. No MR on Febiven means he can't really 1v1 this.
No. Tried his best there, getting off those heals. Actually stopped in the brush to wait for the rest of his team and then realized, okay, they got a ward in there, he can still kill me.
What I really like about this replay is how Denial used correct positioning to flank. I called Kikis out earlier in the game for being caught out and maybe not having the greatest positioning. That was perfect. He got 4 members of Cloud9 between him, the rest of his team, and his Agony's Embrace. And that is exactly what you want to do. Because Denial had an opportunity, they took it, they punished, and they've got themselves a nice lead.
And right now, blue buff is going to be picked up for Denial. We've seen Master Yi getting a bit more farm in this top lane, up to 176 right now, but he's got to be alive in these fights. Well, I say alive in the fight, he's got to be in the fight. That's the problem with that last one. Also, Yarnan, I have to say, has been caught out of position more than once this game.
Yeah, I would like to see Cloud9 go back to split push game. I'd like to see them move around the map, put more wards down. If you can get Ko or even Odawamne onto a tower, they both got a lot of damage they can put down. Odawamne's got his Twin Fang, he's got that Bilgewater Cutlass built up. He can actually get through those towers quite quickly. As far as the Feral Flare is concerned, I believe it's up to about 21 or 22 stacks right now. When you filter in all of the additional damage, it's 166 additional damage onto those monsters, minus 67% for champions. So it's still scaling. It's still hitting harder and harder. I'm not going to try to do math on screen. They're going on Kikis.
They're going in for ult. Kikis there is a wild growth use, and that's going to force them away. Nick actually getting a little bit caught out there. Odamne coming through the front, but where's Babunia? He's coming up from that bottom lane. Flashes used for both Odamne and Ko there.
I'm not quite sure I agree with the flashes. They tried to jump onto Denial. Yes, they got some ultimates out of Denial as well, but at the end of the day, there was no hard CC locking anybody in place for long enough for that to be a kill threat. Cloud9 also split their focusing. They thought they caught Kikis towards the Wraith camp, and they thought they caught Nick towards the mid lane, and they didn't just jump. They didn't jump on the right targets. I'm happy to see Ko shoving those lanes out, but he needs to get more wards, I think, once he can actually get an item slot. And deeper vision will allow them to split push much safer and much more aggressively.
We also see, I think, Woolite feeling very comfortable. He got himself a cleanse, got himself Mikael. No, he doesn't have the Mikael's Crucible, but has the Mikael's Crucible from Super A's as well. He can stay pretty safe in these fights, and all he needs to do really is stand at the back when it happens.
That's the theory. What we've seen from Woolite on the other hand is he likes to run up front and try to snipe people. He's successfully done it once onto Boydle, which gave them that comeback team fight into the game. He attempted it on Febiven earlier on, and a few minutes ago, you see Woolite, he's stealthed up. Woolite is far ahead of the curve. He's trying to find somebody to just instantly burst down with Lost Whisper. In addition to the rest of his damage, he is terrifying. All Denial are looking to do is create an opportunity, blow somebody up instantly. Kikis, he can go in if he wants to. That's 4 members, decides against it right now.
Oh, gonna be spotted here by Ko. Says, I don't really want to fight. Actually, has used his ultimate here, and he's gonna try and back away. He's got a Thornmail, so I think Ko just like auto attack. Wait a minute, I'm losing more health than I should be. Back away, he's got a Thornmail.
The thing that's important to note is once Kikis uses his ultimate that Agony's Embrace, that also carries through the armor stats of that Thornmail and Randian's Omen. So it's even more difficult for Ko to burn through it because he doesn't have a massive amount of armor penetration. The Ghostblade is going to help, of course, but it is not a Last Whisper. So we need to see how he plays this one out. We do have a very quick pause, and this is a tense game. This is very, very close.
I mean, we're pretty far into it. We've seen a swing now. We've seen 3 swings. Basically, this game has been very, very swingy, that's for sure.
That's how swings work. They go one way, then they go the other way. So
at some point, though, someone falls off, and we're still not sure which team that's going to be.
At this point in time, both teams have almost fallen off, and that's what's allowed the game to swing. I think Cloud9 are now playing overly aggressive, and I feel like it's confidence. When you look at the plays that Cloud9 have made that have allowed Denial to get back into this game at 37 minutes on the clock, it's when Cloud9 have gone at a small advantage and then been hungry for more. You know, the bloodthirst takes over and they chase down a little further than they should. And that's generally how they're giving up more kills. When Voidal was caught, the rest of Cloud9 were like hanging around. They're like, do we want to go into one? No, he's been caught. Leave him. Sorry, bro. Your fault. Don't get caught again. They didn't do that. They gave up 2 more kills and a tower. So Cloud9 needs to just be a bit more decisive in their defensive decision-making because it does seem to be faltering this game.
And we just saw that as we had the pause, that Baron was back up into play. There were no real vision around the area for Cloud9, and actually they were pushed up in the mid lane a little bit. So we'll see once we go back into that on what the next move's going to be. I still feel like Woolite is the main player in this game as to who wins and who loses. His positioning is going to be key.
I completely agree with that. The damage from Lulu, while it is good, it has been hit in 4.5. Rise, I do feel, is going to continue to grow with value. At 37 minutes in the game, he is basically at the power plateau. And yes, he can still continue growing once he gets even more defensive items. But I feel like he is enough of a threat that as long as he can get past Odoam the Shyvana and he can get to the squishier targets of the likes of Soraka, for example, who still hadn't built up a lot of magic resistance, that's where Babunya is going to be looking to make plays. But as it stands, it's just going to come down to positioning of those key solo laners, basically, and AD carry to determine who's going to win these next few fights. Well,
while we're in a pause and before we get back into it, let's go back a little bit and take a look at the last big fight in this game.
So, in this particular fight, as I grab my minds, yes, this is where Kikis flanks. Kikis does a perfect flank, and it's something that I've touched on. When you've got an Evelynn and you've got a Twitch in your game, you want to be surprising your opponents and getting them out of position before they can react. Now, we do see Feathervent is being chased away, and the rest of Denial are holding Cloud9 in place, so that's a 3v3. And Babunya is just going to really 1v1 him. That's pretty simple. Odoamne, Ko, Voidal trying to respond, and you just see Kikis again making forcing Voidal. Look, you either turn on me, which means you can't help the rest of your team, which means you give up more kills. So very smart play from Denial in this situation.
And you see that Ko had, I don't want to say little impact. I want to say he had almost like minus impact on that fight. He wasn't there when it started. Yeah. When he did finally come in, he actually got hooked and then was taken down. However, I'll give him his credit. He was split pushing away from that one. He did take down that inner turret, but when you've got a 4-1 push like that and you've got two champions that can be invisible, that's still very, very risky. You never know where they're going to be. They could go 2-for-1 on Ko. You never know that.
It was a misplay from Cloud9. They didn't have enough vision or control to make that play happen. The game was still even. I think they had a couple hundred gold lead at that point. They didn't have a massive lead. When you are in the lead and in control, your opponents are not likely to engage in you because of the item discrepancy.
Yeah.
In a game that's even, you are always at risk of being jumped on. They didn't have pink wards in the jungle. Ko had got the tower. He was only just starting to rotate around. Now, this is a little bit... I actually think we're back again.
We are live. Don't commentate. It's not a replay. We are back into game here. Denial versus Cloud9 Eclipse. And as I said, Baron is live, and there's not any vision there for Cloud9 Eclipse. You can see them edging forward in the jungle, but they have to be real careful. There's a rise trap in the brush.
I don't feel that Denial should start the Baron. They've got vision control. They've got a good. They've got 2 wards, so they're confident in the lack of vision from Cloud9, and I would prefer to see them pull Cloud9 towards them and then have that surprise engage. Have Evelynn and Twitch and Rise jump out of the bushes and say, hello, we want you to die. Right now, Ko's going to get zoned out. It's actually Cloud9 that are looking to start this engage.
Oh, they've got a lot of damage on towards Kikis here. Odoamne dives in. That's a great solar flare as well. Rise off of the side here. Could end up getting picked off before he can do anything. Ko, though, is surely going to fall. He's meditating a lot. Here come the rest of Cloud9. It's 4 versus 4. Yi and Rise out of the fight. Cloud9 looking like they're going to get forced away. Spray and pray is done. There's the hook, but it comes on towards Voidal. He's going to go back in. He goes right onto the tanky backline. And Woolite, they've got the AD carry. They've got Lulu. And now Denial falling to pieces. That's 4 kills coming in. Kikis is going to run away. It turns again, just like this game, that fight swinging.
The flash hook should not have been followed on because it hit Leona. That was just a signal. Oh no, we've caught someone who can stun us and lock us up and allow Hyanan to get the damage done. Now this was actually very smart play. By getting so much damage onto Kikis early on, it mitigates his threat in the team fight. And while Babunya does hold, 3 members of Cloud9 in place, he runs away and just gets melted. He couldn't stand the damage that Hyanan was putting out. This Zenith Blade does not connect with Woolite. Had it connected, it would have been even easier to drop him down. And this is the key play. Even though Super Race gets a flash hook, Voidal instantly turns around the moment that he can. Woolite is caught out. I mean, completely separated. Hyanan melts him. So much damage when you've got a 5-item no defensive statistic Twitch, he's going to get caught out every time he's you lock down.
So, with all that happening then, Baron was not, right?
No,
Baron's there.
only.
Yeah, Baron's there. He didn't say live at the top, so it kind of scared me for a second. I'm like, wait a minute, where's the Baron gone? So Baron is still alive. The inhibitor in the middle lane did go down, though. And in true Game 2 Cloud9 versus Denial fashion, the gold has swung once again over to Cloud9.
So the one thing that I do want to highlight is that Woolite, after getting melted, after getting popped, has still not gone for a defensive item. He is relying on the Mikhail's Crucible from Super Ace, as well as the Wild Growth from Nick, to be his defensive itemization. And I feel like that's a mistake. I think when you are such a priority, such a fed champion for your team, who can't actually stop people jumping on you, you know, if Shyvana dives, if Yi Alpha strikes, and if Leona, you know, Zenith Blades or Solar Flares, there's nothing you can do against that. I would have preferred to have seen the likes of a Banshee's Veil to mitigate one of them, or a Guardian Angel even, to come back up and melt through people. We'll see how it works out. Blade of the Ruined King, gonna be his 6th item. I mean, more damage, but more risk.
Yeah, completely agree with that one. One thing I'm also surprised that we've not seen more distortion boots. The changes there, so they're giving you, you know, flashing away, you get that speed boost afterwards. Now, for me, that in these scenarios where they're chasing and having to run away so frequently will be so vital. Yes,
very, very crucial. I think the fact that Babunia has picked himself up those distortions will help the engages for Denial. Babunia's going to be responsible for stopping the split push of Cloud9. Then he can teleport in. He'll have a 30% movement speed for, I think it's 2 seconds once he lands. And that should hopefully allow him to get in range and get a Rune Prison down. So we'll see how it works out. The last time Denial tried that strategy with Kickers flanking, it worked. It worked very well. But right now, their opponents now have a 4,000 gold lead and super minions in the mid lane. Odoamne doesn't really want that fight.
No, going a little bit low there, I think. Both players have teleport as well. That's the key here with the dance around Baron already started. This pink ward is worth more than its weight in gold right now. Kick is finally going to spot that one's there, and he will in fact realize, okay, they've had vision on me this whole time. Silence goes down. Babunia is chasing Odoamne, who actually flashes, and there we see it. Babunia dives in. He's going to pick up the kill. That's now 5v4. Do they stay at Baron? Do they back away? They're going to fight for this one, but I don't feel like it's the right choice. Voidal falls as well. They're going to keep going for this one. Febiven, the next target, he's going to get locked up here. Has to use his wish early, but Babunia will get the kill, and now Denial turn, and they're going to have the Baron.
3 for 0, and the Baron secured. At the end of the day, you've got a 40-minute Rise. Rise is not afraid of Odoamne Shyvana. He 1v1'd him quite easily, in fact. Teleports to the Baron fight and gets a Rune Prison on Febiven. The second most important target. I think Yana probably number 1. At the end of the day, Denial now grab themselves the Baron. They should be able to push this mid lane down, get an inhibitor of their own, because there's only 2 members of Cloud9 defending.
It should be interesting. Will Hyanan use the cull in here to try and get them low? I don't think it's even going to be getting them low at this point. We'll see the inhibitor, it goes down. The inhibitor itself is going to fall. We've still got 20 seconds for Febiven. Both Odoamne and Voidal are coming up here momentarily. And I think the wiser choice here from Denial. They're going to back away. After all 3 turrets are still up on that top lane. That's basically 3 turrets for them at this stage.
Just going to give them a further gold lead. Now, they are the ones that are in control of the map. The inhibitor has respawned for Denial in the mid lane. Oh, Kickers will talk by Ko. Let's see how this works out.
So going for him, but there's the lantern, and Ko doesn't get any more from that one. Although he is going to be trying, just chasing a little bit further on through the enemy jungle. May just get himself some vision down, if nothing else, or move back into that split push role. But let's not forget that Denial have Baron here. This is the time where Cloud9 need to be careful.
Cloud9 have not seriously attempted to split push at all this game. Ko got 1 tower from it. We've seen Odoamne trying it in the bottom lane, but it was too late and he got caught out. Now Nick might be going down.
I have no possible explanation as to why Nick is there right now. We do see Ko actually going down. Nick actually being able to run away from this one. Babunia doing tons of damage on some there. Yana going to turn around. The Zenith Blade actually missing. They do finally get down Nick. Can they get any more? Woolite versus Yanan. It's a good flash from Yanan. The heal came out, but it's not enough to keep him alive. Now they turn on towards Febiven. Kiki's actually taking lots more damage from this Starcall, but the kills raining in for Denial. 3 for 1, and I'm going to question, they've got Baron, why are you fighting?
This could be game. Cloud9 thought that they could catch Nick out. They committed a lot to trying to kill him early, and it gave Denial the time to react. Now, Febiven's got a lot of armor, so you'll actually see Woolite is not melting him as effectively as everyone else. That was a mistake. He should not have gone in. Regardless, they get a kill on Voidal. I think the rest of Denial still have enough time to finish this game out.
I totally agree with you on that one. They're going to have super minions coming into the base as well. The Nexus turrets are going to be knocked down, and Denial now going to go in towards the Nexus itself, but not before they've dealt with Febiven one more time. He's going to get another heal off there, but Babunia keeping him out of the way. The rest of the team going to start to spawn in, but all too little, too late. It's Denial that take game 2.
So we are going to a decider match. Denial managed to pick themselves a game up thanks in very large part to Woolite's Twitch. It was very well played. He found key picks, he had a lot of damage, and Cloud9 just had no way to regain control after the laning phase advantages had been evened out.
There were a lot of very strange moments in that game, though. We saw so many caught out of position moments, caught out of, the numbers game with 2 invisible champions essentially on the Denial team that Cloud9 were like, okay, we've got a 4-1 push going on here. Let's go straight onto the turret, and all of a sudden Evelyn dives straight on top of you. You've got spray and pray hammering through the entire team. We saw Baron being a real magnet for both teams when it came to, moving in there, picking up the Baron, getting some kills. On the other side, starting the Baron, losing out on a couple of kills, and then losing the Baron itself. So really a game with everything, I think, that one.
This is a game that both teams had very good aggressive plays, some good defensive plays, and generally, I think, because of poor decision-making is what ended up costing this game. I think at the end of the day, both teams had moments that were good, but they were immediately followed for 1 step forward, 2 steps back kind of thing. And I want to call out the Master Yi. We've seen it 2 games in a row now. Game 1, completely uninspiring. Ko shut down Kikis hard. Game 2 now, Ko picked up the Yi. He did get his Feral Flea. He got it to 29 stacks by the end of the game, which is about 187, 190 damage bonus. I don't think I was impressed. I don't think he had any very, very positive impact in the overall game. The one team fight for Kikis in the mid lane, flanking from behind, was much more impactful. It was much more decisive than this Feral Flare Yi. Maybe the new hotness is a little overhyped. Maybe it's poor execution. We will need more games before we can say conclusively.
And that's the interesting thing as we head towards a game 3. Where are the priorities going to lie? Master Yi now played twice, 2 losses. Is Master Yi still that hotly contested? For me, if he was that hotly contested, we may have just seen a ban from him by this point.
So I think 2 things stand out for me in that game. Number 1, Super Ace's Thresh, way better than Super Ace's Kale.
Yes.
I was very impressed with his hooks. I'm very impressed with his flays and his ability to peel for his team.
Well, I think Thresh is more of an impact champion anyway. You can do more things like that more constantly.
Correct.
Aside from hooking in Voidal, which, could have cost them the game in the grand scheme of things, he had another few hooks that were also game-changing in their favor.
What I think stands out is not only that Thresh, but also the Rise. We've seen during the pick ban phase of this series, Cloud9 banned out Mundo, Nidalee, and Morgana. Now, the reason you ban out Nidalee at this level of play is there will always be a point where a Nidalee spear will give you a heart attack. That can be game-changing. It will happen. In the exact same way with Rise. At some point in the game, he will hit that power spike.
Yeah.
Mundo will hit a point where you can't kill him, but he's not going to kill you. He's not going to run you down. You really have to be caught up very badly to get run down by Dr. Mundo. Shyvana against Dr. Mundo is a lot less scary. Yeah, cleaver after cleaver after cleaver after cleaver, etc. But you could just teleport away in that situation. I think Rise would probably be a priority for me now. If I were in Cloud9's shoes, get Babunia off that champion and remove the risk of late game. Alternatively, just pick earlier champions and then smash them in the early game, which is what worked for Cloud9 in Game 1.
Well, guys, with that incredible finish, we are headed into a must-win Game 3. One of these teams will be headed to the LCS promotion tournament. The other one will be fighting for the chance to compete in the last place. Do they stay at Baron? Do they back away? They're going to fight for this one, but I don't feel like it's the right choice. Voidal falls as well. They're going to keep going for this one. Febiven, the next target, he's going to get locked up here. Has to use his wish early, but Babunio will get the kill. And now Denial turn, and they're going to have the Baron.
3 for 0 and the Baron.